I'm going to speak a little bit about myself. He just told me I have 5 minutes. Okay, I just want to give a little scenario because I always use scenarios to present my points. I follow Alibaba on Twitter. I hope you know Alibaba. And for those of you who use the BlackBerry, I don't know if you got a message some time ago that a little girl was in need of blood, and that she needed some amount of money to be able to send her to India to be able to whatever give her the medical treatment that she needed. And people started to broadcast that thing all over. But there's something about me that when I see such broadcasts, I don't immediately rush, because even this afternoon I've gotten the one that Yobe is boiling and Christians are being killed and this, that, broadcast it so that people will get to understand and all that and all that. I don't rush into doing such things because most times we find ourselves fitting into boxes. And this is the same thing that we've been talking about all over and all over again. Now, when I got that message, I didn't want to do anything about it until I saw Alibaba. Alibaba said something, because he did it in a very comical way. You Nigerians, you guys are always used to doing us. Did you notice that the number had only 10 digits, but didn't have 11? So how come? Calls us and so number. It wasn't possible, and people were broadcasting the thing all over the place, not knowing they had 10 digits. Well, I want to bring that to a point about purpose and business of your talents. Back in the time when we were little kids, we went to school, and in the class they said, who wants to be a doctor? You see everybody raising their hands. Who wants to be an engineer? People were raising their hands. Who wants to be, nobody said he wanted to be a carpenter or he wanted to be a footballer at that time. But we all had wonderful dreams. We knew that we had talents, we were talented and all that. But along the line, as we began to move, we began to meet other people who used to tell us that it wasn't possible for us to do that which we could do. They began to tell us that in Nigeria it wasn't possible to be this, it wasn't possible to do that. And lots of people started to kill their dreams consciously by themselves. But it happened to me that in the year 2006, that I worked for a company that sent me abroad, even with all the hype, the enjoyment, being picked at the airport, and all that, working for a good company. I began to ask myself a question: is it actually what God has designed me to do? Is this really what? Is it the hype or just the enjoyment of being an engineer and all that? This is not really. So God began to speak to my heart and said, there's something that is inside of you that which you can use to bless people. That means look inside. And I began to make the inquiry, God, what is it exactly that is inside of me? And one day, as I was just sitting, I heard the voice that you have hands to write and you have a voice to speak. Use it to bless humanity. This is just your talent. Use them. Simple as that. And then I began to do it. But understand something, that you just have talents does not mean you're going to earn anything about it. There's a difference between your talent and your business with your talents, and that's where lots of people are misusing it. That's where a lot of people are not getting ahead monetarily in their business. And so how did I start? I said, okay, since I have hands and I have voice to speak, let me start to speak to people, and then let me start to scribble something down. And that was how I came up with my book, the first book that I wrote, A Profound Life. I have some copies of them here. That book starts with the programming of the mind, which is exactly what we need in this nation. To change our mind from following the crowd, being boxed in with kind of paradigms that we have been operating on. Lots of them. Because the one that made me laugh so much was at the time I was about to settle down, I began to hear so many things about marriage and about childbirth and all sorts of things. That by the time a woman is pregnant, she's not supposed to eat snail, because if she eats snail, the child will come out with runny nose. In my place, that the woman who is pregnant, when she spreads her leg, you're not supposed to cross the leg. If not, you're going to develop some certain things. And then she's not supposed to eat bush meat, because if she eats bush meat, then the baby will come out with brains that can't read and all sorts of things. And we believe these things. Most of us, we operate by these things, the same paradigms that have been set for us, and we are consciously working on those things. But I was able to look into my life and came to a conclusion that I cannot walk by those things. I need to begin to creatively create my life. So in that book, I set out all those things. programming the mind, creating your life, making your life work better, and then using your talents to work for you and to make money from it. Today I'm glad using my talents. I speak to lots of people and I coach them, and I write also articles and all sorts of things. So we can, every one of us has a gift. Every one of us has a talent on the inside. You can begin to use them. If you keep on to wait for the government, I'm sorry. As I said before, people began to think that if the government doesn't help them, then they're not going anywhere. I decided to help myself, remove myself away from that kind of thinking, and then the creative ideas began to flow on how I could get myself out into the world and then begin to expand and to explode. It's possible. Find that out for yourself and begin to do it, and then you see yourself getting to the peace.